Hello, this is Miss Yetter, and we are continuing our saga of Hollow City, which is the second novel in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. We are on chapter 12, part 2, and if you will turn with me in your novels to page 334, we will continue at the first full sentences, I snapped an icicle. Are we all there? Page 334. I snapped an icicle off the wall. She really did all this, I said, turning it in my hand. She did indeed, said Miss Wren, puffing beside me. She is, or was, I should say, apprenticed to the Minister of Obfuscation and Deferment, and was here performing her duties on the day the corrupted raided the building. At the time, she knew little of her power other than that her hands radiated unnatural cold. To hear Althea tell it, her ability was the sort of thing that came in useful during hot summer days, but which she'd never thought of as a defense weapon until two hollows began devouring the minister before her very eyes. In mortal fear, she called upon a well of power previously unknown to her, froze the room and the hollows, and then the entire building, all in the space of a few minutes. Minutes, Emma said. I don't believe it. I rather wish I'd been here to witness it, said Miss Wren. Though if I had, I likely would have been kidnapped along with the other Embrams who were present at the time, Miss Nightjar, Miss Finch, and Miss Crow. Her ice didn't stop the whites, I asked. It stopped many of them, said Miss Wren. Several are still with us, I imagine, frozen in the building's recesses. But despite their losses, the whites ultimately got what they came for. Before the entire building froze, they managed to secrete the Embrams out through the roof. Miss Wren shook her head bitterly. I swear on my life, one day I'll personally escort all of those that hurt my sisters to hell. All that power she has didn't do any good at all then, said Enoch. Althea wasn't able to save the Embrams, Miss Wren said, but she made this place, and that's blessing enough. Without it, we'd have no refuge anywhere. I've been using it as our base of operations for the past few days, bringing back survivors from raided loops as I come across them. This is our fortress, the only safe place for peculiars in all of London. And what of your efforts, madam? Said Millard. The dog said you came here to help your sisters. Have you had any luck? No, she said quietly. My efforts have not been successful. Maybe Jacob can help you, Miss Wren, Olive said. He's very special. Miss Wren looked sideways at me. Is that so? And what is your talent, young man? I can see hollows, I said, a little embarrassed, and sense them, and kill them sometimes, added Bronwyn. If we hadn't found you, Miss Wren, Jacob was going to help us slip past the hollows that guard the punishment loops, so that we could rescue one of the Embrams being held there. In fact, maybe we could help you. That's kind of you, said Miss Wren, but my sisters are not being held in the punishment loops, or anywhere near London, I'm sure. They aren't, I said. No, they never were. That business about the punishment loops was a ruse concocted to ensnare those Embrams whom the corrupted weren't able to capture in their raids, namely myself, and it nearly worked. Like a fool, I flew right into their trap. The punishment loops are prisons, after all. I'm lucky to have escaped with only a few scars to show for it. Then where were the kidnapped embryos taken? Asked Emma. I wouldn't tell you even if I knew, because it's none of your concern, said Miss Wren said. It isn't the duty of peculiar children to worry about the welfare of embryos. It's ours to worry about yours. But Miss Wren, that's hardly fair, Millard began, but she cut him off short with a curt, I won't hear anything else about it. And that was that. I was shocked by that sudden dismissal, especially considering that if we hadn't worried about Miss Peregrine's welfare and risked our lives to bring her here, she would have been condemned to spend the rest of her days trapped in the body of a bird. So it did seem like our duty to worry, since the embryos had clearly not done a good job worrying to keep their loops from being raided. I didn't like being talked down to that way, and judging from Emma's knitted brow, she didn't either. But to have said so would have been unthinkably rude. So we finished our climb in awkward silence. We came to the top of the stairs. Only a few of the doors on this level were iced over. Miss Wren took Miss Peregrine from a horse and said, Come on, Alma. Let's see what can be done for you. Althea appeared in an open door, her face flushed, chest heaving. Your room's all ready, mistress. Everything you asked for. Good, good, said Miss Wren. If we can do anything to help you, Bronwyn said, anything at all. All I need is time and quiet, Miss Wren replied. I'll save your embryo, young ones. On my life, I will. And she turned and took Miss Peregrine into the room with Althea. Not knowing what else to do with ourselves, we drifted after her and congregated around the door, which had been left open a crack. We took turns peeking inside. In a cozy room dimly lit by oil lamps, Miss Wren sat in a rocking chair holding Miss Peregrine in her lap. Althea stood mixing vials of liquid at a lab table. Every so often she'd lift a vial and swirl it, then walk to Miss Peregrine and pass it under her beak, much the way smelling salts are waved under the nose of someone who's fainted. All the while Miss Wren rocked in the chair and stroked Miss Peregrine's feathers, singing her soft, lilting lullaby. Eftaka Vangan Surkan, Efkaka Vangan Surkan Malale. That's the tongue of the old peculiars, Mildred whispered. Come home, remember your true self. Something like that. Miss Wren heard him and looked up, then waved us away. Althea crossed the room and shut the door. Well then, said Enoch, I can see we're not wanted. After 3 days of the headmistress depending on us for everything, we had suddenly become extenuous. Though we were grateful to Miss Wren, she'd made us all feel a bit like children who'd been ordered to bed. Miss Wren knows her business, came a Russian accented voice from behind us. Best leave her to it. We turned to see the stick-thin folding man from the carnival standing with his bony arms crossed. You, said Emma. We meet again, the folding man said, his voice deep as an ocean trench. My name is Sergei Andropov, and I am captain of Peculiar Residence Army. Come, I shall show you around. I knew he was a peculiar, Olive said. No, you didn't, said Enoch. You only thought he was. I knew you were peculiar the second I saw you. And, said the folding man, how you weren't captured long time ago. Because we're wily, said Hugh. He means lucky, I said. But mostly just hungry, said Enoch. Got any food around here? I could eat an emu raff. At the mere mention of food, my stomach growled like a wild animal. None of us had eaten since our train ride to London, which seemed eons ago. Of course, said the folding man. This way. We followed him down the hall. So tell me about this peculiar army of yours, Emma said. We will crush the whites and take back what's ours. Punish them for kidnapping our Embrums. He opened a door off the hallway and led us through a wrecked office where people lay sleeping on the floor and under desk. As we stepped around them, I recognized a few of their faces from the carnival. The plain-looking boy, the frizzy-haired snake charmer girl. They're all peculiar, I asked. The folding man nodded. Rescued from the other loops, he said, holding a door open for us. And you, said Millard, where did you come from? The folding man led us into a vestibule where we could talk without disturbing the sleepers. A room dominated by two large wooden doors.
I'm sorry.
Emblazoned